Oh boy, racing action just about set to begin. 2 to go signal is in the air.
Got 2 laps to green, but we're going down to Duke Kentfield, who's on pit road.
Two-time defending CRA Super Series champion Johnny Van Dorn in the Port City Race Cars house car number 61. Guys, he's been feeling extremely under the weather all week long. He was very happy that it rained out last night so he could get a good night's rest, but I tried talking to him just before he strapped in, and he sounded terrible. He is losing his voice. He's not feeling well at all, but he's starting fourth. So you got to think he's feeling a little bit better knowing he's starting up front, but it's going to be a long 250 laps for Johnny Van Dorn.
I don't know what him and Matt's been doing lately, but I think Duke's been sick and losing his voice, so maybe he went over and coughed on Johnny or something.
Oh, it's been some rough weather here at Berlin. We want to thank all the fans for coming out to brave the elements that we've had here the last couple of days. A lot of thunder, a lot of lightning. It's all gone. The only thunder we're going to hear now is the roar of the engines as the pace car dips on off. We're getting set to go here in the Rowdy 251.
32 cars in the starting field, 16 rows of 2. Tim Steele from Coopersville, Brian Campbell from Wyoming, ready for green. Turn number 4, Berlin Raceway, the Rowdy 251, presented by Kaiser's Port City Racing is underway.
Brian Campbell gets a good hole shot down into the turn 1 from the outside lane. Looks like he's going to be the early leader, just like last year. Clean and green as Tim Steele drops back. Van Dorn fires into second.
Steele having a hard time getting his car up to speed. He does now. He drops in third. 11 car, 111 of Peter Cozzolino, who was top qualifier for a long time in time trials this afternoon, was bumped to the second spot by Kyle Busch. He's running in the 4th spot.
Move the 51 car of Kyle Busch into the 4th spot if he can clear up off the corner. Cozzolino ain't going to let him have it easy, but the 51 rockets into the spot. Now he's all over the 3rd spot of Tim Steele. Looking for 3rd. Will he get it down the backstretch?
There's not a driver in this field that's running a lower lane around Berlin Raceway than the number 51 of Kyle Busch. He moves into the 3rd spot. Earlier today when they were drying the track, Busch had a Ford Focus out there helping dry the track. He was down on the apron all the way around the track. I'm thinking, what's he doing down there trying to dry that? That's his lane that he's running right now.
To the pits is actually in 3 and 4. You come out and kind of loop out down on the apron.
That's backwards of what we normally have at most racetracks, no doubt.
A little tricky, and we're going to see a lot of fireworks when they come in for pit stops later on here. 28 laps complete in the Rowdy 251. You're listening to the live coverage here on Speed 51 Radio.
He had gone down a circuit. He's going to make the left-handed turn in 1 and 2 on the pit road.
And from what we've seen, it looks like that's about the 2nd car off the track. Of course, Alan Card's going out earlier, so Miller coming to pit road here as we continue to work laps here. 53 in the books.
To the inside of Campbell, side by side with Campbell for the 2nd spot, coming out of 2 as they close on the slower traffic.
There's a wall in front of them there. The 48 of Moody and the 125 of Cole Powell. Kyle Busch will push up the banking there and get around Brian Campbell up out of the corner. What a move there as Cole Powell drops to the apron, and now Kyle Busch is into 2nd.
And Brian Campbell there says, you know what, I better give him the spot over in turn 4. No need to race right now. It's not going to win him a race on lap 65. Still almost a couple of 100 laps to go in this Rowdy 251, brought to you by Kaiser's Port City Racing at Berlin Raceway. We've seen a lot of passing. We've seen a lot of cars go down a lap.
Looking back to the pack there as the KBM car of Kyle Busch moves forward toward the lead.
Oh, we're going to have a caution for the first time. Blaney backs it into the wall. Contact from Peter Cozzolino in the 111. We saw Blaney run in the top 10 for a long time early in the race. His car started to fade, and caution number 1, unbelievably, coming at lap number 76. Back to green, coming off of turn number 4. We are underway again here at Berlin. This our first restart after the first 79 laps or so, and trouble coming off of 2. This is going to pile up about half the field as a parking lot in turn number 2 of super late model race cars. All started, I think, Thomas getting turned around in the 82 by a car behind him, bringing out the original problem. 88 laps complete, closing on the halfway mark. Still a little bit to go, about 126. The caution will come out. First half of the race will be complete. They'll go to the pits and work on the cars. Busch working the high side. Van Dorn on the bottom as they race middle of the backstretch. They go to 3. It's Busch in the Flexco 51 working the outside lane.
Busch tried to really wide it up down there through 2, but he'll fall in line. The 61 of Van Dorn, he'll have the lead. Campbell drops down to the 3rd, and the battle's on for 4th. Looks like it's going to be the 121 of Van Heitzman making that spot as he closes in, but up front, here comes Kyle Busch to the bottom of the racetrack, looking for the lead in 3 and 4. Can't quite pull even, but here they come for the top spot.
Las Vegas, Nevada driver Kyle Busch in 2nd spot as they cross the line by just inches. Van Dorn hangs on to the lead. They're wheel to wheel exiting turn number 2. Van Dorn the advantage. The Coopersville, Michigan driver takes Las Vegas, Nevada driver Kyle Busch. He continues to lead down in 4, and Van Dorn holds him off.
Busch not going to go to the front this time. He He actually falls back, looks for a better run into the corner. The 61 will use the high lane to get the momentum, and he'll clear, but Kyle Busch keeps it in the low lane. He wants to send it down into 3. Real unique situation we have here compared to last year. The sun was out, shining in everybody's face when we got to halfway. Now cloud cover is set in. It's a little bit cooler, actually a lot cooler than last year. As now Kyle Busch shoots underneath the 61 of Van Dorn. Kyle Busch to take the top spot out of turn 4. Van Dorn nearly turns him sideways, but Rowdy's got the lead.
Van Dorn did a little bit more than take the air off of the rear bumper down in 3 and 4. He wiggled him a little bit middle of the corner. Busch, though, will pull away by 2 car lengths over Johnny Van Dorn. For the first time tonight, Kyle Busch leads this race, which is named after him, the Rowdy 251 from Berlin.
And Busch immediately puts 3-4 car lengths on the 61 of Van Dorn, who might just be saying, you know what, go on, we'll race you later. As the 61 slips back, and Kyle Busch really turns up the wick and approaches lap traffic there. In just 2 laps, puts on about 6 or 8 car lengths on the lead.
Busch leads, second Van Dorn, running third by himself. Van Heidsma running 4th, Campbell running 5th is Steele. 6th spot, Chase Elliott, he closes on 4th and 5th. Running 7th is Benson. 8th is Eichler. 9th, Chris Anthony continues to move forward. He's picked up 16 spots tonight. DeVos running in 10th. Turn number 4, there goes Van Heidsma around. He had to lock up the brakes as he closed on Boris Jurkovic, a slower car. And Van Heidsma, who had a pretty good run going, has spun it down in turn number 4. As he closed quickly, and the closing rate was so much on Jurkovic, he locked him up and tried to come to a stop, and Van Heidsma trouble for the 121. 125 in the books. Kyle Busch, I would think that team's not going to make too many changes. They came on right at the right time. Maybe want to be a little bit stronger early in the run for the second half of the race, but you see folks running on pit road. Drivers getting ready to head pit side for the break. You fans in the stands, a great chance over the next 20 minutes to get yourself some food and get yourself a drink to keep your thirst quenched over the second half of the race. But the first half of the race is complete.
Kyle Busch went to victory lane last year. Ryan Campbell won this thing the first year 2 years ago. He's waited 364 and a half days to get back to where he is right now. Just could not deal with the fact of losing that race. He's restarting 3rd. How much has it helped that car, all the changes they made here at halfway? Everybody making adjustments. They want to be as good as the 51, but how good is Rowdy here on the restart? Adam Mackey with the call.
126 in, 125 to go. Kyle Busch and Johnny Van Dorn, the field of the green on the front straightaway as our coverage continues here on Speed 51 Radio. Into the lead goes Busch. Van Dorn protecting second with the number 20 of Campbell looking low.
Front 4 gets single file there. Campbell falls into the 3rd spot. The 20 trying to chase down the 61 of Van Dorn, who really closes up to the back bumper of the 51 of Busch. Van Dorn, he's got a pressure. He's to the back bumper of Kyle. He might lay a fender to him as they go up the back straightaway. 61 looking real good as they go into 3. He gets into the back of him a little bit. Busch almost gets a little squirrely up the racetrack.
Car off the back stretch going down through the grass, and I think we'll eventually see a caution for it as Van Dorn has taken over the race lead. But caution coming out for a car over the back straightaway. We'll see if it's able to make its way to the track under power is Chris Kozlik in the 23 car. Kozlik coming back onto the back straightaway. Doesn't look to be a lot of damage. I guess that's one of the benefits, as we talked about, with no wall in the back stretch. You get out of shape. You don't wad up your car, but you do go off. A little off-road racing for the 23 of Chris Kozlik. 133 laps complete. 133 laps complete. Johnny Van Dorn ready to restart on the pole position. Busch now restarting high side, and we're back underway at Berlin. 134 at the line, and Johnny Van Dorn, the race leader, heading to 2.
Port City and Hampton race cars go side by side up the back straightaway, and Van Dorn has the leader. And being under the weather, I'm sure it would make it extra sweet as he climbs into bed with a little medication tonight and the trophy.
4th position battle for the number 12 car of Tim DeVos. DeVos drops to the low side of Anthony. Couple of locals battle for the number 4 spot. Also Benson, the veteran, racing with another veteran, the 44 of Steele, for the 6th position. And it's going to be DeVos in the number 12 car, taking 4th away from Chris Anthony.
They don't have any teenagers up front there. All the old crafty veterans are making the racing going on here tonight at Berlin. A lot of action as DeVos slides up the racetrack. Anthony gets into the back of him just a little bit as they go down the straightaway. Give the spot to the 12 car. He moves to 4.
Car wash coming off of turn number 2. 3 drivers have spun down into the infield grass. Jordan Dahlke, one of those in the number 37. He was a driver that's on the lead lap, and that might not be the case now. now. Nick Bonstell in the 11, one of the others, and I think there's another one turning around. It is
23 car.
23 car. Chris Kozlik turning around, getting back out onto the asphalt. So 3 drivers that have spun over in turn number 2. 154, make it 155 at the stripe as the green again is in the air, and Johnny Van Dorn scoots into the lead. Kyle Busch stays alongside into turn 1 in the outside lane.
Van Dorn going to hold the spot there as Kyle tries to look to the outside. The 61 pushes up, gets the spot, gets clear, but here comes Kyle back to the bottom there, trying to get a good run on the 61. They're bumper to bumper at the line.
I think he might have returned just a little love tap down in 3 and 4 that we saw Van Dorn give Busch after Busch took the lead earlier in the race. Tim DeVos, I said I didn't know whether he had anything for the 20 of Campbell. I could be wrong. DeVos running the high side down in 3 and 4. The veteran racer trying to get around Campbell, and Campbell closes the door on the front stretch. DeVos spins him toward the wall, into the wall in the front stretch. Cars piling in. Oh, look out. Head-on collision down in the first corner. Not sure who that was.
The 71.
It was Bonstell on the 11.
And the 71 went up over the side of the 5 of Brian Eichler. The 25 of Cole Powell's involved. The 23 of Kozlik's is in the wall. Heavy damage. Lots of cars. Lots of cars wrecked. Matt Duke Kentfield on pit road saw some of that. Matt, what'd you see?
I saw the very tail end of it, but the guy's the car with the very most amount of damage right now. Early front runner, Brian Campbell in the 20 car. He was spun around, hit the wall a ton, and then the 11 car just pile drove him head on in turn 1.
Ready for green. Van Dorn and Busch bring the field in, and we're back underway at Berlin Raceway. Lap number 158 will be at the line next time around, and this time Busch is strong in the second groove. Busch pulls ahead by half a car length entering turn 3.
Kyle Busch drives it in real deep at 3 and 4, but Johnny Van Dorn has the preferred lane, the inside groove, but Kyle Busch rockets to the lead on the outside. He's going to have the lead.
And we've got big trouble. I thought you saw it over in turn 4. Tim Steele in the 44, Tyler Rohrig in the 14 get caught up. The 08 car of Pollard involved. 37 Dalkey stops to avoid. 32
car dips on off. The 51 and 61 will lead the pack to turn 3.
Last year we had 18 cars finish on the lead lap. Tonight we've only got 17 running on the track right now. 167 laps in, 168 at the line, and Busch brings the field to green. And we are back underway. Busch and Van Dorn. Van Dorn can drop into line before Benson gets to the inside. He does. Johnny Benson running 3rd. 4th is Anthony. Elliott and Van Heitzma battle for the number 5 spot. Give it to Van Heitzma.
Eichler marching his way back to the front after being involved in that altercation over here with Campbell. Eichler to the bottom of the 12 car, trying to get to the spot. They're battling for the lead.
It changed for the lead, and it might change again. Van Dorn went underneath Busch going into turn 3. Busch ducked back under him on the front stretch, but Van Dorn holds him off in turn 1. And Coopersville, Michigan driver Johnny Van Dorn is back in the lead in the Rowdy 251.
What a night this would be for Dalkey if he could walk out of here with a modified win in the top 10. As here comes Kyle Busch for the lead in 1.
They went around Peter Cozzolino, and now Busch goes to the low side of Johnny Van Dorn for the lead. 61 of Van Dorn, high side. 51 of Busch, low side. They head into turn 3. Busch dive bombs turn 3. Goes to the lead. Here comes Van Dorn back to the bottom.
Kyle Busch, he'll have the spot, and he'll pull away from Van Dorn.
Van Heitzma, DeVos, love to see a yellow here. They could come to the pits and not lose any track position as they are the final 2. Van Heitzma off the track on the back stretch, goes down off of the banking in the grass.
Will he get back on?
He's trying.
Caution.
Caution is out, but that's going to hurt him. He's going to go a lap down. Van Heitzma, man, he needed a yellow, but he did not want to be the yellow. It's going to leave us with 4 on the lead lap before the lucky dog. Trying to see who the lucky dog could possibly be. It's going to be Dalkey. So I think Dalkey in the 37 will be the lucky dog and go into the number 5 position. Should leave us with 5 cars on the lead lap. 2:44 complete, make it 2:45 at the line. It'll be 6 laps remaining, 5 cars on the lead lap. Here we go.
Van Dorn with a good restart down into turn 1, but Kyle Busch gets a good one too. Clears the 61, goes the 51, and that might be all she wrote. Kyle Busch looking awful good down into 3 and 4.
Boy, Van Dorn is bottoming out heavy. He's got a tire going down on the 61 car. Bottoming out heavy, the 61 of Van Dorn. And he gets turned on the front stretch. Oh, look out, up into the turn, up into the wall. A couple of cars go. The 55 of Anthony, the 61 of Van Dorn. As we have a pile up in turn 1, it was Van Dorn off the pace in the 61 as he had, I think, a right front tire going down, and he collects some cars coming down the front stretch. Van Heitzma gets rolling again. Most heavily damaged going to be the 55 of Anthony.
The distance back to Tim DeVos in the third spot. Kyle Busch takes the white flag here in the Rowdy 251. Going to walk away with this one, it looks like, as Johnny Benson has one desperate attempt on the back straightaway. He's not going to be able to run down the lead as Kyle Busch hits 3 and 4.
Trying to make it 2 years in a row, and it looks like he will. From Las Vegas, Nevada, the Flexco. Busch Foundation Toyota. Kyle Busch the win tonight. Second to the 21 of Benson. Third to DeVos. Fourth place across the line will be the 37 of Jordan Dahlke, as I'll head trackside. Elgin, take it away.